Hello, and you're very welcome to unbelievably the 50th edition of the Take a Pull podcast. How we've got to 50, I've absolutely no idea, but here we are. Feels like we only started it yesterday, Deck, but a good old achievement for us, I must say. How are you keeping in sunny Oakland, there?
Yeah, it's nice here. Set up at the back garden. How are you keeping?
Ah, yeah, not too bad. Nice, nearly a week off, basically, wasn't it? After a
Yeah,
bunch
well,
of
it was
stuff. So,
it was tough. Lot of racing, wasn't it? It was. I
yeah,
was there every day. Took me a week to recover.
firmly off the bridle from early on, but no, you stayed on well, which was the main thing. Yeah, no, a great week's racing, a lot of fun, and yeah, the national hunt season kind of comes to an end, but now it's summer festival season, so we were thinking of kind of switching it up for the summer, Deck, as you were saying, more so your idea, but I'm very much on board with it. I think it's a good idea. So, you want to take it away? What do you think we're going to be doing as summer festivals? Is it?
Yeah, it's like there's so much racing during the summer. We can't um we can't cover it every day. Like there's 2 meetings today. There's 2 meetings tomorrow. There's 2 meetings Monday. So I think we'll try highlight the festivals. This is our first summer festival, Killarney.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So look, I think it's the festivals that make Irish racing. That's the difference in Irish racing and British racing. An ordinary person can own not only a runner but a winner on, at a big meeting. We were fortunate enough to win at Killarney last year. It was on terrestrial TV. Like, you think Galway's on the same week as Goodwood. Anyone could own a Galway winner, but very few people could own a Goodwood winner. So Irish racing it's I suppose more people have an opportunity. I think that's what makes it special. That's what gets people involved. Is you can own a winner on a
Yeah.
big day. Like, look at the entries over there's horses horse that was second in the Queen Mother is running at Killarney this weekend, and you have horses rated in the 80s running there as well. It's open to everyone, and the crowds that will be at the tracks for these summer festivals is unreal. Like, they'll be jam packed. Hopefully we have a good summer, and we'll do our best to highlight them all anyway.
That's the plan, yeah. And I feel like it's taken us about 50 podcasts to finally cover good ground racing, or maybe even a bit of farm jumps into the description. We don't know. We might in a few future flat podcasts. I'm sure we'll get a bit of good to farm, but no, proper summer ground, and I'd say Killarney are going to get big crowds this weekend, and on to Monday and Tuesday as well. Given that the weather that is hopefully coming our way, you can never be completely sure, but with a bit of luck, if the weather does hold up. It does start on Sunday with the Torque Travel Maiden Hurdle, Deck. Obviously a new season, so all of these horses will have novice status basically until this time next year. I believe so. It's a good time, I suppose, to win your maiden. I suppose it depends. Unless you're a very, very good horse, there's never a bad time to win your maiden. The favourite is probably likely to be How About No for Joseph O'Brien, Deck, the top one, by Galloway, and decent enough on the flat. I think rated in around the 80s or so, maybe high 70s, low 80s. Had a win at Dundalk under his belt. Look, Galloway's are able to jump. Obviously, the most notable son of Galloway was probably Vauban. I know he went back onto the flat, but he did win a Triumph Hurdle. Deck, where would you start here? Obviously, not a lot to go on with these 4-year-olds. But who do you like?
No, there's not a lot to go on, but we have seen some of them jump already. Obviously, you've mentioned How About No. We don't know if he can jump. He was rated 80, and I think he's only had 3 runs. So, there's not an awful lot of miles on the clock. It's probably a good time to go jumping with him. St. Faz in here as well. He ran on the flat the last day, but we'd seen him over jumps. He was 24 lengths tour to Nürburgring here last year. That was last August. He was toured to the Art at Cork. I think Pagan split them that day. But the one I like is Heroes Rise. He won a 4-year-old point to point. He was 8th on his hurdle debut at Fairyhouse on Easter weekend behind Angeland. I think you'll see massive improvement from him. He might have needed that run. I think he could be tough to beat here.
Heroes Rise for Deck. Right, I'm going to stick with the top one. And he did look like quite a scopy horse. How About No? I think he'd be no problem taking a hurdle. And the fact that he's kind of staying with Joseph O'Brien, who's getting less and less hurdlers at this stage in his career. very mainly on the flat. I just maybe think that this horse, I don't know, maybe it could be for sale. You don't know. And yeah, I do like the pedigree to go with. So either way, no for me. We can jump on to the 135 then, Jack, the Longley Communications Maiden Hurdle. A horse here caught my eye. I'm just making sure. Yeah, it is this race. A horse here caught my eye that I thought could have been a horse to take high rankings over hurdles a few years ago, but injury kind of got in the way. And it was Sheena Ella, who was a Galway Festival winner, very, very impressive a few years ago, got injured and he's been on the comeback trail for a bit of a while. Didn't really have the best of seasons last year. But I would fancy him to take a hurdle quite well, related to the likes of Swamp Fox and Nappers Hill. So, very, very trustworthy jumping pedigree on him and coming from good connections. I'm really excited to see how he takes a hurdle, and with a bit of luck, he does run a big one. Irish Panther, who we talked about in early tots, obviously in here making his reappearance. Maybe they're keeping him for better ground deck. But who do you like?
I think this is quite tough. I think it's quite a nice maiden for this time of year. Irish Panthers in here. He has some strong form lines behind Daddy Long Legs and Farron Glory. Lieber Nick was third in a bumper to Argento Boy and Born Braver. Born Braver win twice over hurdle since. El Gasparlo, he was fourth in that maiden I mentioned at Ferry House to Don Chalon. Then he was second at Tremor. But a horse we mentioned before Christmas, and Fast Felix, he was second in a bumper to Down Memory Lane. I'm fairly certain Owen McCarthy told us on the podcast he wasn't a bumper horse. So I think he's going to run a big race here. And Owen did mention Killarney when he's on. He does target the Killarney festivals, and his horses seem to run well there. So I think Fast Felix could take a bit of beating here.
All right, Fast Felix. Yeah, no, Owen definitely said he wasn't a bumper horse, 100%, and he's well experienced now, so you'd expect him to definitely go well. I'll stick with the hurdling debutant Sheena Ella. Obviously, Joe Murphy's loves Killarney as well. Like, often does very well on both codes, National Hunt and the Flat. So I do very much like Sheena Ella. He's bred to take a hurdle at the bare minimum. Obviously, being related to Swamp Fox and Nappers Hill, so I'm gonna go with him. But you'd have to give Fast Felix a chance for sure. And Irish Panther, obviously, 7-year-old as well as Sheena Ella. You would expect him to run a decent race as well with his decent bumper form that he had, and his okay hurdles form. It wasn't probably as good as his bumper form, but he would have a chance as well. The Killarney Towers Hotel and Leisure Centre Mares Hurdle is next deck. This is a listed race. She could be anything in here for Gordon Elliott and Jordan Gameford. Likely to be a short enough price favourite, I would have thought, given her rating of 139 and her liking for this type of ground. Efrenach Fizz, she's going to go off like a scalded cat as usual. Carl Miller going to take the ride on her. And Gulliver Run, one that we talked about quite a bit as well. She's finally got her winning bracket, so she's in there too. And obviously Minx Tiara, who is a front runner, but I can't see her taking on Efrenach Fizz. That's never usually the best of ideas. So yeah, could be a furious pace on here. But who do you like?
I think it's probably between. She could be anything in Royal Eagle. She could be anything to set the standard. She's rated 139, but she has to give £7 to the Royal Eagle. There's only £6 between them. I think Royal Eagle back on good ground. At the weights, I suppose she's £1 well in. But I just think coming back onto good ground, I think that you'll see. She's probably less exposed. She could be anything. I think it's not really a betting race for me, but I'll take Royal Eagle. I think she'll be tough to beat here.
Yeah, look, yeah, she is coming back from, coming back in grade. You could argue. I know this is a listed race, but she wasn't a listed handicap, and no hope against Daddy Longlegs. That was her first run in quite a while, 5 months or so. And yeah, like I can definitely see where you're coming from. That they probably held her back for this type of ground as well. Yeah, and like you can't even really tell with the jockey bookings. Jordan Gameford, Danny Gilligan. I'd probably just about agree with you on Royal Eagle. It would purely be a price thing, the £7 and whatnot. The tissues are saying 6-4. She could be anything 5-1. Royal Eagle is probably a little bit too big in the discrepancy. Especially as you said, Royal Eagle is probably that little bit more unexposed as well. So I would probably be siding with Royal Eagle there myself, Deck. the lakes of Killarney handicap hurdle. Probably no more beautiful lakes in the world than what you have down in Killarney. The 245 on the card, it's just over 2 miles. And again, very, very competitive. Encanto Bruno's going to get his ground, obviously. Haven't seen him in, nearly the best part of 4 months, I think. Icara de Bois, who finally got his win last time out. Boyer Side, who we've talked about plenty. And obviously down the bottom there, Z-Band, who I think shaped a little bit better than how he actually showed at Aintree, ridden very wide, and a lot didn't go well for him, but he could be better judged on his 2 wins previous to that. A competitive little heat for a little over €23,500 to the winner, so a good little pot to win. Who do you like here, Dak?
Yeah, it's probably Encanto Bruno back on good ground. He's quite ground dependent, isn't he? Like, he was very good at Cheltenham on good ground back in October, and he ran in a handicap at Leopardstown, I think, but it was over Christmas and the ground wasn't good. So the ground hasn't been good since about October. This is his second handicap run, but it is tough. Like, Facile Mode's in here. He ran twice at the Punchestown Festival. This is his second handicap run, and you mentioned the Icara de Bois. He won a bumper 2 years ago. He's won it in Naas Maiden the last day. It's tough, this, but I'll take Encanto Bruno, purely on that run at Cheltenham on good ground. He looked very, very good, and I'd expect to see him bounce back to form here tomorrow.
Yeah, Encanto Bruno could be the next. What was that horse that was nearly rated in the 160s? That was used to always rock up in the summer. The Chaser. I can't remember his name now. He wore the red and black silks. Did Peter Peregrine Run.
Peregrine Run.
Yeah, he has a Peregrine Run vibe off an Encanto Bruno, doesn't he? That'd be that'd be a lovely horse to own, going and scooping up all those summer prizes. But maybe we might see him take offence in the summertime, or later on in the summertime. I think it's between him and the hat-trick chasing Cheerful Chap for Philip Rothwell down the bottom there. Simon Torrance taking the ride. I think I rate his form quite highly when he managed to hold on and beat Kings Hill. He was a well back 2-1 favourite that night. Kings Hill, I thought, ran very well behind Daddy Longlegs. It was a night-catching run at the Punchestown Festival, so I would rate that form quite highly. Ground is going to be a little bit quicker for him than usual, but I wouldn't hold that type of qualm against him at this moment in time. Could be a progressive 7-year-old who is in the form of his life, only carrying 10 stone 4. I could honestly see him going in again. Philip Rothwell starting to bang, well, not starting to bang in the winners, but he's had a fantastic season. He's gone a little bit quieter maybe since the Punchestown Festival, but you can't have winners all the time. But he's had a fantastic season, and this horse is just going the right way. I'd be between him and Encanto Bruno. If I got decent prices, I'd probably hedge and back them both. But I can't see.
Have we got
I'll check
for this, yeah.
See, check tissues. The Icara de Bois favourite, and we've got they're 6-1 a piece. Like, you probably back them both at those prices. Like, I can't see them being out of the frame. You wouldn't be backing them both each way now, but if you're backing them both win only, I'd be comfortable enough with that. But Cheerful Chap off 10-4, like, I could see him. I wouldn't imagine he's done progressing by any way, shape, or form. So I think he's going to run a big race. And obviously Encanto Bruno, who does go well fresh, loves this ground. They're definitely the two I'd be looking at. Maybe Common Practice, the top one. Maybe there's a pot in him down the line. I don't know if it's Galway Hurdle now, but it'd be interesting to see how he runs on his first run for, I don't know, a little over 3 months there. But Encanto Bruno and Cheerful Chap would be the two I'd be quite keen on there now. Onto the 320 deck, the Gerard O'Sullivan Memorial Novices Chase over 3 miles. And this is a quintet. Maybe you could probably give 4 of them a chance. I don't know if you'd be giving the top one Decimation much of a chance, with all due respect. Gaelic Arc, who I thought ran really well after a long absence. He's the one that I was drawn to pretty quickly. I thought he ran quite well behind, I think it was Horatsu Dari at Clonmel. Had decent form behind the likes of Pied Piper though, and appreciate it as a younger horse. I'd be kind of keen on him here. I think he's a touch of class. I don't think he's going to be favourite given the connections. Maybe like Music Katara, obviously she's very ground dependent as well. I'd imagine she's going to head the betting, or maybe Solitary Man. duffel coat. I just not sure Killarney's going to play to his strengths. But I've been wrong in the past. But who do you like here, Deck?
Yeah, I actually mentioned, I think I mentioned Gaelic Arc on a recent pod. I think he's quite exciting. That was a massive run coming back from over a year off. And yeah, I think he takes all the beating here. The other one I like, but he might prefer the stiffer test in this, Solitary Man. He was second to Search for Glory when he was last seen. He actually gave him £3 that day, but he that was 3 miles over hurdles. He might want a stiffer test than Killarney, and that's why I'm going to side with Gaelic Arc. But I'll definitely be watching Solitary Man the next time he runs.
There you go. I'm going to completely follow you in with Gaelic Arc. He's the one I quite like here as well. Tissues are saying 4-1, which I'd be very comfortable with. He's actually the second rag of the field at that price. I'd be surprised if he went off that price. A guy I do rate his form, and he showed he retained up pretty much all of his ability on his return. And the bounce factor is obviously what you'd be worried about. But coming from John Ryan's yard, where they run every other day, the bounce factor, it's almost a non-factor with him. Like they're basically trained on the track is the wrong thing to say, because that makes it sound like they're not trying. They gain their fitness from their racing, and they get sharper and sharper as the season goes on. And he's a good man for doing that, John Ryan. So I think Gaelic Arc is definitely the one to be with there myself. A mare's beginner's chase. The amount of mare's races we cover now these days, it's a great old program, and we almost have one basically on every tap as we get 50 episodes deep. I still can't believe we're 50 episodes in. It's unbelievable. C'est la vie, she's probably going to be a short price here. Is there anything you could see that maybe gets her beat here?
No, yeah, she's going to be short. She's the highest rated hurdler by quite a bit. Look, I'm not sure that it'd be taking her on, but the best of the rest probably going to be Pebble Blue. She was second on her chase debut. Jay Port, is it Jay Port, the Gavin Cromwell horse was behind? She's won.
She has, yeah.
This week, yeah. Pebble Blue, I think she'd be a much better chaser than she was a hurdler, and she's probably the one to follow her home. It's very, look, you're kind of rolling the dice trying to get C'est la vie beat. Like she's
there's no point, is there?
No, there's not really. You're kind of just guessing, but like if you're picking one to follow her home, it's probably Pebble Blue for me.
Yeah, she's not even gonna, she's won a Killarney on good ground in the past, a bumper. There's no qualms about the ground. She might even prefer this ground. I just on the balance of form, she probably is going to prefer this ground, and she could be one that racks up a serious sequence in the summertime. I would probably say this is just a schooling job, to be honest. I wouldn't, waste my time trying to look to see what's going to come second. 4:30 then, Deck, probably the race of the day, and this is a race that I really took a long look at, because I think it's a very, very competitive race, just under 30 grand to the winner. It's the Killarney National handicap chase over 3 mile 2. This is a race I could see in the future Ciamdana actually having a spin in.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's it. If you think he get 3 mile 2, I think he would, no problem. In time, and he's obviously won a Killarney in the past. Maybe working back from the Killarney National with him, Deck, for next year.
It's good out, and just looking at the ratings, the bottom.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely 50 grand pot.
Yeah, why not? Anyway, so yeah, look, I think this is a fantastic race. The one I was drawn to, and I'm not 100% sure he'd stay, but I'd be very, very interested just to see if he gets into a rhythm, would be Irish Blaze for King Collins, who I think King Collins done a fantastic job with this horse. He ran okay in the Red Rum at a big price, but before that, he's got a win into him. He's ran in some decent novice chases. If they can keep the lid on him, if you're going to get 3 mile 2 anywhere, Killarney's probably a good place to maybe get it. I think he's quite an interesting runner that can blow this race wide open. 15 runners though, Deck. Who's your fancy here?
It's probably Midnight or Fred. I think the race is tough. It's difficult. I wouldn't be very keen on him, but Midnight or Fred, he was second on his last 3 runs. They all came at Cheltenham. This is his first handicap run in Ireland. He may have been hard to assess by the handicapper, having not running handicaps in Ireland. So yeah, I'd take a chance on Midnight or Fred.
Midnight or Fred. Yeah, and look, Stealthy Tom, obviously another one that up the top there loves Killarney. Brideswell lad, that we saw him win at Leopardstown a few weeks ago, in a race that unfortunately had the unseating of Snake Oil, if you recall. He'd have a good chance back on decent ground, but I'm going to take a chance on Irish Blaze. Look, I know he could be a doubtful stayer, but I just think King Collins has gotten a great tune out of this horse since he got him. And I'm intrigued to see him at 3 Mile 2 again. Whether he can go from the front and hold it is a big question mark, but I think you're going to be compensated with the likely price that he's going to be. I think he's a fair each way chance. Anything for the bumper then, Deck? Probably. No, I wouldn't imagine not. No. That's fair enough.
Opinion on this bumper.
Yeah, no, it's a tough year. At least it's a 4-year-old bumper. So you know, these are horses, you know, that you can have a good look at, maybe with a view to them being put away and coming back for the winter season, or they might run up a sequence. You never know. I see there's an Australia in there for Joseph O'Brien, Florida Straight. I bet he was bought at Goffs or Tats or something. I wouldn't say the idea was for him to run in a bumper first time up Florida Straight, but we'll see. Interesting old bumper, maybe one to watch back as time goes on. Well, we may as well move on to the Monday card, Deck. Again, it's probably, you can't even probably call it a twilight meeting now that we're in near the middle of May. So like, you're still gonna easily have sun until 20:08 in the evening. The Monday evening starts with a mare's maiden hurdle, surprise, and we've got a big field, 16 with the 3 reserves. I'm not sure how much winning this is going to take. I know Kuta Shiva has a rating of 113, as does Inatwende, who had a bit of a reputation actually before, kind of like she was making her hurdles debut, I believe, for the yard when John McConnell's yard was very quiet. It was like last October. I remember she ran badly when fancied at Cheltenham. If she came back to form to her mark of 113, I'd say she'd take some beating. Jokers and Clowns has been disappointing. There's also Little Biggie, who's, you know, being consistent, yet at the same time, like, do you think she'll be able to win a maiden hurdle? And then we have some interesting debutants as well, Deck. And obviously Woodja for Gordon Elliott, you can't ignore that one there. But who do you like here?
I don't have a massive opinion on this race, but Milana Way, she's 0 from 6, 0 from 5 of her hurdles, but she's probably been running in tougher maidens than this. She was beaten 2 lengths into 4th the last day at Wexford. I'd probably take a chance on her, but it'd be more of a race to watch now than get involved in.
Yeah, a gun to my head, I might say Inatwende to bounce back to form, given her the reputation that she had at the start of the season, but it's not really one that I'd be getting overly involved in now myself. The 5:10 is the Dermot Cronin Electrical Limited Maiden Hurdle. Good Dermot sponsoring a race. Another 2.5 miles. Again, not the easiest. Park the Joint, consistent horse, rated 118. Probably sets the standard of horses with a mark. 118 would usually probably get you a maiden hurdle at this time of year as well. St. Cuthbert's Cave. Probably fair to say he's been a little bit disappointing thus far. So, and then there's obviously Jet Setting Jim, who I think won a bumper the last day. Deck, who do you fancy here?
I'm a massive fan of Park the Joint, but he's just continuing to disappoint. I think he's a big horse, 6-year-old. I thought he was going to, progress massively after his first couple of runs, but he just keeps disappointing. I think maybe he just needs a fence.
Could it be the ground?
It could possibly be the ground.
Like, he did win a yielding point to point. And then he might have just needed his experience when he was, he's always gone off double figure prices. You can argue he was disappointed though last time out at Tipperary. But this is going to be genuine good ground.
Yeah, look,
yeah, but it is. He has been a bit frustrating though. I do get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it'd be hard he's hard to trust until he proves it was the ground. And look, I'm happy to take it on the chin if he does go and win. Crooked Tanny was a bumper winner, has been second, third, and third last 3 maiden runs. But I'll go back to that man, Owen McCarthy again. Ali Lababa. Ali Lababa unseated the last day at Galway, was second to Black Bamboo before that. Obviously put away for the winter. back out on good ground, as we said, on targets Killarney, I think, Ali Baba.
Yeah, obviously there's Crooked Tanny up there, up the top as well, actually rated 120. But no, if you think Park the Giant has been disappointing, that thing's been beaten at all sorts of prices. I like, in fairness, he did bump into Z-Band at Leopardstown when he was 9-4 on, but like, I still, it's hard to argue he's a 120 horse even still. Onto the Shire Novice Hurdle, the 540, Lyndon Arden for Willie Mullins, and that's out of the great race mare Solarina. Obviously older fans of the podcast might remember her. Hard not to, but an interesting and competitive 8 going to post here, Undeniable Alibi, and On the Steel as well for Conor Charlie O'Dwyer. Ross Narai as well for Henry de Bromhead. So an interesting enough race deck. Anything you like here?
Yeah, Willie has my like it in here. His hurdle debut, winner on the flat.
Of course,
yeah. It's like, we don't know an awful lot, but you'd imagine this horse probably going to set the market.
You'd think, like, given it, like he's gone in what, Group 2 and fourth behind Sminka Million in Group 2 last time out, so that's high form.
Yeah, it is. But like, can the horse jump? We don't know. I think Conor O'Dwyer's horse is a nice horse on the steel. He was a winner on his only hurdle start, 5-year-old. Only 3 starts to date. I think he could be a really, really nice horse. I'll take On the Steel here. On
the Steel to beat the Flat Rat is what you'd say, Dak. I think it's again, it's probably a race for the future to keep an eye on. Obviously Willie's horse bringing a high degree of form in here. The next race is a handicap hurdle deck over the 2.5 miles. And a former Cheltenham Festival winner. We didn't mention that at the top of the show, I don't think, did we? Jazzy Matty heading the weights, former Boodles winner. Now with
Jazzy Matty, didn't get a mention.
No, it didn't get a mention. Jazzy Matty.
Bitterly disappointing.
Jazzy Matty, he has been very disappointing since winning the Boodles. Now with Keane Collins. He obviously has a bit to prove. Uthred as well, another kind of former, I don't know, he's Cliff Horse. Maybe my old man liked him. Bit of a Cliff Horse of someone's, not mine, but
was he the horse with Joseph O'Brien in the
Jigginstown Silks? Yeah, absolutely. Could have been yours. I don't know.
Might have been,
So look, an interesting field of 15. Is there anything you'd be liking here, Dak?
Yeah, I quite like Sea Music. He was a maiden winner on his first hurdle start last August. It's his handicap debut, back on good ground. I think he's a big chance here. I don't mind going with him on their handicap debut during the summer. It's a bit different to the depths of winter when we're usually waiting for them to have their second run. The ground is, horses that hit good ground. It's massive for them. So I'd be keen enough on Sea Music here.
When you see that trainer in those colours, you like, I know we haven't had Galway yet, but I suppose it depends what race they want to win with it at Galway, though, I suppose, isn't it? Like,
he could run on the flat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he could end up over fences. You never know. You could go for the beginner space and then the amateur, and then
in a 4-4 sprint.
I'm going to take the Terence O'Brien horse, Pitwood Road, who it looks like good ground has really been the making of him. He was disappointing at odds on at Bangor, albeit in heavy ground, but those efforts have that effort was on either side of 2 wins, one at Market Raise and the other at Ayr. So Terence has been campaigning them out of the country. 111 is the result of his handicap mark, and it'd be very interesting now if they actually did run him in England, what the English handicapper will give him, since his 3 runs have been in the UK. But anyway, John Shinnick taking off 7 by Pro Council. I'm actually surprised now that he was an ex-Jubmont horse, I'm pretty sure. I think, did Andre Fab maybe train him? I'm going off on a tangent. Pitwood Road for me, I think is an interesting one, quite unexposed, and makes handicap debut off a competitive looking mark there, I think. In the 6'10".
He should have a British mark, because doesn't the British handicapper have to rate them like once they run, or doesn't have to. He just, everything gets a rating over there, doesn't it? They get up out of bed in the morning, they get a rating for it.
Exactly.
generally have to be entered in a handicap or asked the question to get a rating in Ireland, or wait till the end of the season. But they get rating as soon as they run, don't they? So he will have them.
Yeah, absolutely will.
Yeah.
Onto the grade 3 then, Deck, the ball sports on Richt Chase, even. And as you were talking about at the top of the show, the Queen Mother runner-up, gentleman to me in here, off 11 stone 12, unseated in at Punchestown the last day in the race, won by Banbridge, who just nutted Captain Guinness on the line, unfortunately. Ashtree Meadow in here as well, who was well beaten in that very race. He was 7th and tailed off, but he's just not a 2-miler. Back to more his trip here on Monday. An old legend of yours, Deck, Fury Road, who's just, it's probably fair to say, in the doldrums now at this stage. Like, you don't know what we'd be doing with him. Salvador Ziggy. Yeah, exactly. And here he is at Killarney. Salvador Ziggy, Visionary, and French Dynamite, Bonnie Kelly. And for the second time on the show, Effernock is getting a mention, because of course she is. Carol Miller down to take the ride again. and probably will tear off in front. I wouldn't even doubt her to back up twice here. Like, I'd say she'd be odds against actually run in only one of the races. Anyway, good old strong field here, Deck. Really competitive. Despite there only being 16, not even 17,000 to the winner for this class of horse. But anyway, who do you fancy?
Yeah, it's really, really nice race, isn't it? Like, his gentleman to me, second in the Queen Mother, rated 162 in Ireland. Does he get the trip 2.5 miles? I don't think he gets much further than 2 miles.
He relaxes now, though, doesn't he? Like, he was used to be an absolute headbanger, but he gives himself a chance, I suppose, to stay now. Yeah,
but even in the Queen Mother, like when Captain Guinness looked to be not staying the trip, he wasn't staying behind the meter. Like, I thought he was coming to win the race and pick up Captain Guinness, but I just don't think he got home. He unseated, did he?
He unseated in the point. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I'd be taking him on over this trip. French Dynamite is in here. A horse we might have talked up for the Gold Cup at once. Well, he's getting a lot of weight here.
Ground important to him too.
Yeah, he's getting weight off everything. Ashtree Meadow gets £4 off, gentleman to me. He was second at Punchestown over 2 miles. This is his ideal trip. And although he hammered Visionarian at Down Royal, that was a match race. And there's an £8 swing today. Visionarian's getting 5. He gave him 3 that day. And look, I just think in a match race, you know, you're beaten. I think the horse shows the tail in, like, you know, once he's beaten, and the winning distance was probably exaggerated that day. I fancy Visionarian here to reverse that. Back on good ground as well. £8 swing. You know, I'd be keen on Visionarian here.
That's interesting now. I would have actually been firmly with French Dynamite, but even despite him being such a important, you know, ground being so important to him, I just think he's been a bit disappointing this season. Like, I thought he should have shown maybe a little bit more when he was beaten by Classic Getaway at Thurles, and then he was just a complete no-show behind Allaho. But he did, I suppose. I think he might have bled that day as well, like an animal soft ground. I just think he's best watched. Salvador Ziggy, I don't know what happened to him in the National Hunt Chase. Like, they could not give him away. I've never, like, I think he was 7-2 the day before, 3-1. He ended up 10 or 11-1 and was pulled up at the top of the hill when they didn't even go that quick. So that was bitterly disappointing. I think maybe that American Grand National could have left a serious mark on that horse. Fury Road can't be trusted at the moment as well. I hear your qualms about Gentleman to me. I'm the opposite. I just think Ashtree Meadow at 2.5 miles, maybe even 3 miles, getting good ground, I think he'd be a grade 1 horse. Like, I'd actually, like, if there was a grade 1 on good ground, maybe even Down Royal next year, he'd be a huge price, given the quality of novices that are going to be coming through and possibly contesting that race early next season. But, you know, I wouldn't hold that poor run over 2 miles. He's ran badly over 2 miles in 2 of his last 3 runs. But if you take out his runs over 2 miles, you know, after the Galway plate, he has won those 2 races. Obviously, the match race and then beating Lucid Dreams. Like, I suppose, like, you could argue the form isn't absolutely exceptional, but like, even on his Galway plate run, I think he's going to be hard to beat. So for me, it would be Ostree Meadow, and you're going to take the horse that you beat in the match, Visionary deck, yeah?
I'd imagine you're going to get a bit of value about Visionary, and I think the winning distance was exaggerated because it was a
I
match
agree
race.
with that, yeah.
The towel in. There's an 8 pound swing, and I'd imagine you're going to get a good value. I quite like Visionary.
Very good. So the match race is going to maybe throw up the 1-2 there in the 640. So the Oyster Tavern handicap chase. Do you like oysters, Deck?
I've never had an oyster.
I mean, they're not bad. Not bad.
I'd say they're nice.
I'd say they're nice down that neck of the woods down Killarney now.
Yeah,
I'd say decent now.
Guinness and oysters.
Guinness and oysters, beautiful. So you were literally talking about this 162 horses, then horses rated 80, and this is literally what we have with Landjet and Cooper Coast rated 80 apiece. Hopefully contesting this race straight after Gentleman to Me runs in the 640. Top weight here, Walk in the Dark, Danny Gilligan, and riding for Brendan Walsh. Down in class, interesting enough runner. But who do you fancy here, Deck? This is a pretty tough old puzzle to solve, I think.
I really, really like General Clermont. He won here over hurdles off 95. He was second in beginners chase recently. This is handicap chase debut off a pound higher than his winning hurdle mark here. This probably my nap of the 2 days. General Clermont.
All right. Wow.
Be quite keen on him, yeah.
Okay, that's a big shout. You've nearly got me taking a second look, because I do like the top one, Walk in the Dark. I just think getting beaten by Pinkerton by 10 lengths at Tipperary, obviously Pinkerton, beating Jackson's Gold, Champagne Matter, Fortunata, like they're all nice enough hurdlers that won at higher levels than this. They're all in, Fortunata was in the mid 120s, Champagne Matter I think was in the mid 110s. I just think Pinkerton, obviously, he was no mug himself. Deck, you were a big fan of him, and even Jackson's Gold had some form in the mid 120s in his pomp. I just thought he ran a nice enough race at a big price. He did lead them. He was quite prominent, but he's now into a handicap chase off 104. So for what he ran against in that beginner's chase, he's quite down in class. Danny Gilligan, excellent 3 pound claimer. I just think he might have been let in lightly here off 104. I do think that is quite a light mark, and he should be able to beat up on some inferior horses here. But you have kind of put the fear of death into me now with General Clermont and what you said there. Obviously Gavin Broder riding. I might have to rethink about that. But I did quite like Walk in the Dark. I think he's been let in lightly enough there now off 104. Very interesting all race there now, but that's given me a spanner, because I thought I was going to have that one to myself. So anyway, onto the Hunter's Chase at 7:45. The Dan Linehan celebrating 50 years of hospitality Hunter's Chase, and we have got 13 runners, including Animix, Grange Oil, and some good old timers in here as well. Obviously, you were talking about before we came on O'Floran, who's done well for himself in point to points, despite looked like he was gone at the game when Gordon Elliott had him. As I followed him all of last year, and it was tough. He let me down a good deal. And Battle Over Diane as well, Deck, great to see him as well. Early Doors, Janie Mac Hardline, there's some great horses in here. That it's great to see them. And obviously Romeo Magico, the 6-year-old, maybe a little bit disappointing. Is it fair to say? At Aintree, he was 6th in the Aintree Hunters, but sights lowered here. But do you like getting for the Hunters?
Yeah, I do like O'Floran. He's taken to it well. He's only a 7-year-old. He seems to have been around forever, and I haven't an awful lot to say on the race, but I do like O'Floran here. He's with the right trainer as well. He is
indeed. I could probably change my selection for this race 3 or 4 or 5 times, to be honest with you. I'm not going to get involved with it. But yeah, it's great. If O'Floran wins, I won't hold it against him, but he probably owes me a fortune from his season, not the season just gone, the season before. But yeah, hopefully he can get his first win under rules in quite a while. Here in the Hunter's Chase for you, Deck. Anything for the concluding bumper for older horses? I highly doubt it.
No opinion whatsoever.
Nothing on the bumper, no worries at all. Well, there's the first Sunday, or first 2 days, Sunday and Monday of Killarney covered for you guys there. Nap at the top deck, I think we kind of came down on one, did we?
Who was that?
Did we come down in the rate of chase? John Ryan's horse, Gaelic
Oh,
Arc?
Gaelic Arc, yeah, be Gaelic Arc, I suppose, yeah.
Gaelic Arc 320 on the Sunday. In the Jared O'Sullivan Memorial Novices Chase would probably be the nap at the top. And then Deck, just because you were so bullish there on our penultimate or third last race we covered there for Joe Dwyer's there, was
it? I like, on the steel.
On the steel,
Or sea music for Emma Mullins, and what was the
you were so keen on it.
General Clermont, was it?
It was General Clermont.
Sorry?
Yeah, it was General Clermont. Yeah,
General
Clermont. And I liked Walk in the Dark in that race. As well. So interesting enough L race, and interesting enough 2 cards. Anything else then? Probably Deck. You probably didn't have a look at the flat race and at Leopardstown, did you? Probably, I wouldn't imagine.
Well, I haven't got to look.
No worries.
Any, if I say,
that's all good.
If I say anything, I'll put up on.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, thank you very much for listening, guys, and thank you for all the support over the first 50 episodes. Hopefully, many more to come. But it's very much appreciated. I'm happy with that little achievement now, getting to 50. So we just keep liking, subscribe, and sharing. We'll keep doing what we're doing. And that is Take a Pulse. First 50 episodes from a sunny Dublin, and all the best, guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.